Yeah, so I'm extremely happy with these figures, and if this is something that you think that you might enjoy as well, uh, Google articulated icons. It'll pull up the website for you. Go over, check out the website. They have right now they have four ninjas and four samurais still on the site. Also, sets of the rooftops that you can use for your own little like mini dios. So yeah, go over there, check those out, but do not buy all the brown ninjas or all the rooftops because I haven't gotten mine yet. And if they're out of stock the next time I go to pick them up, I'm gonna be very upset. So leave me a couple, but go over there and definitely check them out. Give them some love. They do have these figures on sale right now for like 20 bucks for the ninjas. I can't remember if the samurai are the same or if they're a little more, a little less. Just go over there, check it out. I'll put a link down in the description so you can go check those out. Have fun. What's up, y'all? This is the Curious One, and today I got something that I'm like really excited about. I picked up um, the green and the gray basic ninja from the articulated icons, the feudal series. Um, I'm actually not even sure how I ended up running into these figures, but I did a while back in series one. But I actually did not pick up any of those figures, and very sad about that. There was definitely some really cool figures. I really like the ninjas. There was a white ninja that you could easily customize into a storm shadow. There was a figure that could be easily customized into a snake eyes figure. There was black ninjas, white ninjas, red ninjas, and I missed all those. Fortunately, I happened to go to the site a while back and I saw these there. And that's also when I realized that the first series is not coming back. They're like gone for good. Broke my heart, but I was like, I saw these there and I was like, you know what? I better grab what I can while I can before they're gone too. And I'm sitting here all sad, wishing that I'd picked them up. But so I'll show you the boxes first. Got the just basic boxes, nothing too flashy. Made by the Fwoosh, and I get that. I get the fact that the boxes are gonna be, kind of simple. Um, it was these figures were crowdfunded, so why are they gonna spend a huge amount of money making the box overly flashy when they could take that money and put it into the figures and make the figures even greater? And these things are awesome. I have watched some reviews for these from some other sites or other channels, some more professional channels, I would say. And everything that I see about them looks fantastic. Now when these came, they were together like this and with a crap load of bubble wrap and then placed into another box. And the boxes came like perfect, like better than what they would have been if I could have found them, like say at a Walmart. Even at a Walmart, like the corners or whatever, it would have been mushed. These came absolutely perfect. Um, Unfortunately, I'm not a box collector, so I probably will not be keeping these boxes. So here they are out of the box. Um, they're in there pretty securely. The first one I was trying to like work the rubber bands off and get it out of there. For the second one, I just said screw that. I pulled out my pocket knife and just cut all the rubber bands. Pulled them out of there. They're in there really, really securely. Um, Now, I've seen in other reviews, and I don't know if they were talking about maybe the ones they got were the prototypes or whatever, because I know they were. The review I believe I watched was from ABC, ABCA. What is it? It's a articulated comic book art. Um, One of those guys. It's a group that they collect figures, they make dios, customize figures, all kinds of stuff. Do photography and everything with their figures. Some really cool stuff. If you're on the social medias, you can find them on there. If you like things like that, you should check them out. But the way my figures came was with the balaclava heads, with Solitaire's harness, and then with the sword gripping hands on them. And they both came with their own little baggie of dope, and I'll open those up and let you check out, see what's inside those. Alright, so each one came with the old school head. The balaclava head, of course, is already on the figure. But this is like an old school style ninja head and mask. Pretty cool. I know I have heard that some people have complained that the way they chose to do the eyes, that they're just green, they don't have any pupils or whatever. But that goes with their story, the story that they came up with for the figures. So I'm not mad about that. If I really wanted to, I could go in there and paint the eyes, put some pupils, but it's not something that I really do a lot, and I don't really want to make my ninjas cross-sided. And to me, it's not that big of a problem. So I'll probably just leave those the way they are. They also each came with a set of katanas, a short katana and a long katana. Now, those do have individual names, but I don't know them right offhand, and I'm not going to look them up. So, if you want to, you can figure out, you can Google it yourself and find out the difference between the long sword and the short sword. It came with karate chopping hands, closed fist hands, and a throwing weapon, which, the same deal. There's a traditional name for it. I don't know it offhand. If you want to know what it is, you can pretty easily find that information out yourself. Also came with what I call like the Storm Shadow Band. Goes kind of like a sash or something, but it's meant to like hold up the swords. If you're familiar with the original Storm Shadow figure from G.I. Joe, then you understand what that is and why it is kind of iconic. And like I had said before, if you had gotten your hands on the White Ninja, a big reason for you probably picking it up would be because you wanted a 1/12 scale Storm Shadow, which to this day I don't think that they've produced yet. I know the Snake Eyes is on its way. Hopefully when they do their second series of the 1/12 figures, hopefully we'll get a Storm Shadow. I was actually very disappointed that they went with Destro instead of Storm Shadow, but Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow are iconic figures for G.I. Joe, so I kind of understand why they would do one figure in one series and then hold off for the other one to keep you, chomping at the bit and wanting to get a hold of it. So the swords do come out of the sheaths. They are a little loose, so you're not going to want to hang your... Well, this one seems fairly tight. You probably don't want to hang your figures upside down or whatever if you got them. Although this one fits extremely tight. This one is a little loose. Wonder if that's the same for both. And it does appear to be. This was not quite as tight as the other one. This one's almost like, I was kind of scared that somehow it accidentally got glued in there or something. But yeah, they both both swords come out of the sheath. Another cool thing is that you can actually remove them from the mounting. So if you wanted to, you could switch, depending on which side you want the short sword on, you can switch it over to the other side or whatever, or you could just take this out. If all you want is the long or the short mountain, you could do that, which is very cool customization that you can do without having to pull anything apart or make anything new. So if you want to remove the harness, you're going to need to pop off one of the arms and the head. I didn't want to try to do it on camera because I have a tendency of like swinging my arms and knocking stuff over, so I did that off camera just to ensure that I didn't break anything. And I was, to be honest, a little worried about doing that. I didn't want anything to break as I was trying to pop the arm or the head off, but they actually came off fairly easily and did not. When I did it, there was no fear that it would break, the way that it popped off pretty easily. So you can take and put this thingy on there, and then you have two different looks. Another thing is you can throw the old school head on there. And then you have another different look. Of course, you could also do it without the sash, which would also give you a different look. There we go. So if you wanted to, you can do them without either, or you could throw on the Storm Shadow sash. And that right there already gives you three different looks. If I could put this on the right way, it'd be even better. So that right there, as I said, gives you three different looks that you could do. And then you have the hood down, which you could do with the balaclava head. So that gives you another look. That looks pretty cool. I like that. Another thing you can do is, instead of the hood down, you can do the hood up. And with this, what you're gonna want to do is put the head into the hood. It goes like this. I've seen somebody do it wrong one time, but I'm not going to give him crap for it because I'm sure he's had a hard time living that down. And then you're just going to snap that head on like that. And you have a different look. Now, if you were a big collector of G.I. Joes back in the day, you would recognize that looks, were this a white ninja, that looks like I believe it was the second Storm Shadow that came out. He had a hooded, excuse me, he had a hooded mask, and then he had like little gray designs. I can't remember like exactly what round he was. No, I'm not even going to say because I know I'll get it wrong. But yes, there was a Storm Shadow that had a hooded mask like this, which I kind of wanted 2 white ninjas, to be honest. That way I could do one old school Storm Shadow and one hooded Storm Shadow. While he had the hood, he was actually a G.I. Joe, which was kind of cool, because I always, honestly, growing up, whenever I played with my G.I. Joes, Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes were both good guys because they were my favorite figures. So your swords can plug in right here in the back. And you can also plug them into down lower. Just above the butt. And that gives you another look. As I said, you can remove either or of these swords. So if you wanted your ninja to just have a single katana, you could do that as well. So there's a lot of different things you can do to give yourself the look that you're looking for. Now you might be asking why I chose to go with the gray and the green. That is simply because growing up, there was a movie I used to watch. We had it on Betamax, which means that we rented it on VHS and then recorded it onto Betamax. And, you know, like a lot of people used to do back in the day. But that was Ninja 3, the Domination. So when I saw the gray ninja, I said, hey, all I'd have to do is paint that balaclava black or like a charcoal grayish, and then I would have a ninja from that, which would be pretty cool because they did not have any as I was growing up, and I could customize the gray one to look like that. I went with the green one because I used to also watch a movie called Shogun's Ninja as I was growing up, and they had spider ninjas. They wore camouflage gi, and I was thinking maybe I might be willing to put the time in to camouflage him out and use the old school head and turn him into a spider ninja. Now, of course, these gis do not match either of those ninjas perfectly. They weren't designed or meant to be those, but with some customization, it would be close enough to where if anybody had seen those movies before, they see the ninja, they would be like, oh, hey, that's from blah, 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 blah. So I may do that if I want to do the work. The gray one would be really easy. I'll be able to do that, you know, with not much of a headache. Camouflaging the green one would be a little extra. I probably won't go over the articulation too much, simply because there is, if you really want to see the articulation, there are much better channels, more professional channels out there that you can find that on very simply. And yeah, you can go give them some support. Now I will probably paint the most of the old school ninja movies. They had a little thing right there, and it would go over your middle finger, and then it'd be like a little circular thing, the same color as the gi. I understand why they didn't take the time to do all that, because then they'd have to make different hands for everything, and it's a lot easier just to produce the hands and then use them for whatever figures that you want. If you look closely, they do have a trigger finger, but it's, you know, they're ninjas. That's not for triggers. The deluxe ninjas actually came with some throwing stars and stuff, and that's so that you can stick your throwing star in there and make it look as though he's chunking them like Ninja Gaiden or Shinobi or whatnot. The figures are really, really articulated. Oh, and I guess I'll have to say this. I know in some of the original ones I've seen where people said that they were having problems with the hip sticking. That is not an issue on either of my figures, as the green one for sure I just showed you. And that is also not an issue on the gray one, although we did have a couple clicks there, but that's the first time I've ever bent that hip, so that makes sense. Now, both of these figures do have a black wash. I know, I think they were saying that the purple does not have a black wash, but I'm not really sure. I could have swore that they said that these had gone really light on the black wash. Both of mine do have it. There is a little imperfection there, but it's not enough to make me angry. I also do have a little imperfection here on the hood, which also is not a big issue for me. You will see more imperfections than that on Marvel Legend figures, you know what I mean? Like, I can't really have a big problem with that. Another thing that I noticed that had changed is the way that the katanas are mounted. They, on the older ones, they mounted sideways, like this, and on these they actually mount like that, curved with the body. If you can see like that, how they curve with the body. I kind of think that I would have liked the older version better, but it's not that big of a deal. On the back of the box, they actually do have, I believe that shows them with the old school style sheaths. Also not that big of a deal. However, if I got the samurai where they mount on the side, I would want the old version more, because it would just be more realistic, I believe. Let's see. Do we have anything else that I need to talk about with these? Now, I'm not the greatest poser, but pretty sure I'm going to have some fun with these guys, because they can get into some pretty cool poses. But yeah, I think I've kind of run my course. I don't really know what else to talk about as far as these figures go, so I'm just going to go ahead and call it there before I get too rambly, and this video is 3 hours long. Alright guys, y'all have a good night. Try to stay out of trouble, and y'all take it easy, alright? Laters.